Jim Freeman and
Renita
from Silverbridge Senior Transitions. We're here with another in our series of interviews with friends of ours who are in the field of serving seniors and their transitional needs from housing, from where they're housed now to something different. And we're very lucky today to be with our very good friend Sheila of Blue Nest Homes. And as we have in our other interviews that you see on our website here, we're going to just talk a little bit with Sheila about where she came from, how she got into this business, why she's here, and this amazing business, Blue Nest Home, which she's built to help solve a real problem that we always find with our seniors who are in transition. So, how'd you get here?
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
So I started Blue Nest Home in 2014 and providing organizing services, so cleaning out the garage or the home office or the kitchen, that type of service. And it quickly grew to what it is today. And over the years, I realized a lot of my clients were older seniors and they needed more services. So especially as they're transitioning from their home that maybe they lived in for 20, 30 years, and now they're looking at either downsizing into assisted living or a smaller location, or sometimes, they've passed away and then their family is coming in to clear out their estate. There wasn't, we were having to kind of piece together things, and so I just started adding services. And so now today we can take somebody who needs to move, we can help them with their move management piece, get them into their new location, get them set up, and then you have all this stuff left over in a house when you've lived somewhere for a very long time, and we can come in and do an online estate sale for them. And we clear out between 94 and 96% of the entire inventory of the home, whether it is high-end artwork, collectibles, antiques, home decor, all the way down to the cleaning supplies underneath the kitchen sink that everybody has. Mm-hmm. The old paint in the garage. We take care of everything. We sell as much as we can. If we can't sell it, we donate it. If we can't donate it, we recycle it. And if we can't recycle it, then we make sure it gets to the proper waste management services. And we can do all of that in usually 20 to 24 days, depending on, how much inventory they have and their location and so forth. And so we try to take as much stress out of that process as we can for our clients.
Right. So there's a couple of important things I want to point out in what you just said. Number one, your services are not limited to seniors, but you've added special services or emphasis for seniors when they need it. But you really serve a greater population. It's just people who need to make a transition, they want to downsize, or they have some other reason to move.
Right. We recently moved a client who I worked with several years ago, helping him organize, and then he moved to another home in the area, and now he just decided he wanted to move out of state and didn't want to take everything with him. And so he was nowhere near retirement age, and we were able to do move management services for him, as well as doing an online estate sale and the entire clear out of the home so he could list his home for sale.
Good. Well, we've worked with Blue Nest several times now, and I'm going to tell the story of how I found you. But our experience has been just wonderful. And there's something else she said that was important. She said that she was able to, I don't know the term used, eliminate, but get rid of 96, 97% of personal property that a person has stuffed in their garage or all over the house or in storage bins or storage units. Why is that important? It's important because you have three options, basically. You have to throw it away, give it away, or sell it. And what Blue Nest does is able to organize and describe and photograph the materials into saleable lots. And as she said, 96% of the stuff is going to go that route. That means you're going to get a little bit of money for the stuff that you have, but more importantly, you're not going to have to pay somebody to take it away. And that's really the critical element of this. I don't know what your experience is overall, but you know, people probably have a little bit of a higher opinion of the value of their personal possessions.
Right. People tend to put a lot of value on things that have a high emotional value.
Right.
And with these estate sales, we always go into it telling our clients that we do it to recoup some of the cost that it takes to clear out a home. It's not a means of making a lot of money, but we get done very quickly what it would typically take somebody who's emotionally tied to the home, like children or a spouse. We come in and we get it ready for the estate sale within a matter of 3 to 5 days maximum. And then it's online, people can bid on it, and then we meet the buyers and make sure that whoever the highest bidder was, that they get what they paid for. And then we spend the next 2 days doing the final cleaning to include carpets, windows, deep cleaning of the home if that's what the client wants, as well as taking out any remaining items from the home. And so in that time span, the house is completely emptied out, and the owner or our client is not spending evenings, weekends of their personal value time cleaning out this home, because most people have jobs and families and they don't want to give up evenings and weekends cleaning out a home that can take months, and we're able to do that turnaround very quickly.
Right.
I have a question on that, Sheila.
Yeah.
So you said if that's what the client wants. So it sounds to me like your services are customizable based on...
Definitely. So we provide a full service package, but if they have somebody in the family that wants to take care of waste management, then they can do that. If they have a long-term housekeeper that has said that they wanted to do the final clean out, they can do that. If they've already had the windows clean, or the real estate agent says don't bother on the carpets, we're going to replace it. It's not all or nothing. We customize each package to the client, and that's why we start every relationship with a client with an initial consultation where we come out. I've been there with both of you.
Yes.
Before we come out, we meet with the client, we set expectations, find out what their needs are, and go over everything, and then I build an estimate by line items so they know exactly what the fees are going to be.
That's excellent.
Well, I've got a lot more questions to ask you and more things to talk about, but I'm also interested in how did you start this business? You know, what interested you about estate sales and downsizing and helping people manage a big problem?
Yeah.
You know, how did you get there?
So I think, as I said before, I started out with organizing, and the clients needed more services, and so I just kept adding it on, and just building that business and making it a one-stop shop for people. And so it's just been this years of, you know, what do you need? How can we help our clients achieve that and make it very efficient for them?
So did you do anything before this, or were you born into the business of estate sales?
No. So I have a degree in business management, and I worked for years in companies in their HR departments or payroll departments, doing benefits administration, payroll, that type of thing. And so I have a lot of history of working with different types of people and different employees. And so when I started, the people that are working on site, they're my employees. For the estate sale piece, cataloging and photographing, those are my employees. And then just building relationships with other businesses that provide the services that we need. And when I first started organizing, I took classes through NAPO, which is a national organization for organizers, and just taking different classes through them and through ICD, different programs that are aimed towards professional organizers.
Right. What's important about that to me, you know, because we've worked together so many times and I know you as a person, I know that you care a lot about your clients. But it's not enough just to care. You know, you've got to do something. And so it was really important, the people that we work with and the people that our clients work with, that they not only care about them as people, but they can solve the problem. And stuff that, you know, when people are in a transition And seniors are particularly vulnerable because, you know, they've lived in a home for decades usually and accumulated a lot of stuff, a lot of emotionally, you know, charged stuff, and it's been there for a long time. And I guess they have an assumption that when they don't need it anymore, that's just going to somehow disappear, which isn't the case at all. But you know, I've run into a lot of people who have empathy and caring, you know, church members, friends, family, but they don't understand the reality. If you have your average 30-year home full of stuff, and you have to move it, it's hundreds of person hours to do all that kind of work. And they quickly, you know, they think, oh, well, I got to, you know, I'll get over there on Saturday and, you know, we'll just kind of take care of it and we'll put some stuff on Craigslist and people will come and pick it up. But that's not the reality.
No.
It's not the reality. It's not enough.
Yeah, definitely not. And so people do have the option of selling stuff on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. It's very time consuming.
It is.
Very, very time consuming.
I had actually a person that you referred to us who didn't hire you, which was a big mistake. But they found that out right quick. And it's been now days and weeks since they got started, and they're not finished.
Right. And when I meet, one of the reasons why I do the consult with a client is to find out if they're a good fit. And so I didn't think that client was going to use this, but I knew that they had a need that you could help them with. And so being able to point them in the right direction and give them other resources so they're making an informed decision. And you know, not everybody chooses us, and that's okay. And if I can help them get connected with somebody that makes their process easier, we can definitely do that. We have had clients not choose to use us, and then they come back later. And we finish it.
That speaks volumes to me about your heart for caring for people. I mean, you know, we're all in the service industry to care for people, and when your focus is on serving others, your best interest is their best interest.
Right,
and
exactly.
That's a really wonderful
and
place
some people
to be
have to
from.
go through that process before they see the value in having somebody else manage it for them. And it's never an easy, we always say in our office, we're dealing with people when they're going through a major life transition and they're not always in the best headspace themselves, and so they need empathy and non-judgment and just somebody who is willing to point them in the right direction. So that's our goal.
Right. So I'm going to tell one of my stories, and the way that I met Sheila and her company to begin with, as you know, I'm a real estate broker. I was called to a family. It was a couple in their 90s who had lived in their home for 40 plus years, and they were very hardworking people. The husband was very talented. He had stocks and stocks of tools and equipment and all kinds of stuff in a 3-bay huge shop garage.
Two-story.
And the wife was a talented seamstress and had done a lot of sewing projects and had all kinds of sewing equipment and fabric and, you know, I don't know what else because I don't sew, but it was, you know, the whole room stuffed with this stuff. And they had ceramics that they had done themselves and little tchotchkes that they had picked up over the years. And they were emotionally attached to a lot of that. And I know because after you came and did your work, the husband missed his tools.
Yeah.
He was telling me that, you know, when my wife needs something done, I used to go out to the shop and just do it. And now I haven't got my tools anymore, and I don't know what to do. But the fact was that they were both in poor health, and had they not had that condition and been in their 90s, they would have stayed there and been happy, and I would have been happy for them. But this was not a choice. Their doctor had given the husband, you know, short-term outlook, and he was worried about who's going to take care of his wife after he left. So it was really important not only to understand this family and know what they did, what they were all about, but to provide the service that lifted the burden from them entirely, so that they didn't have to, they could just make their choice. They could move. Some of their church members were involved. They had family involved, but none of those people had hundreds of hours to come out and do what you did. And as I recall, it took about 3 weeks from start to finish. And as you say, 96% or so of the material left. The children cherry picked a little bit of materials, which happens, and that's fine. But that lowered the yield on the sales. But the service was provided, and the home was in not mint, but clean condition. There were some repairs that needed to be done, but it was showable for people to buy the home. And I was able to put the home on the market. We got an offer within 30 days and closed within another 30 days. So total process was about 90 days from start to finish. I had a very satisfactory result in the sale. The clients were very appreciative of what Sheila and her team did. And I was out there a couple of times, and I saw the whole crew and scurrying around what she did. One thing I really like about the way you've organized things is, typically on an estate sale, if a family does it or somebody does an on-site estate sale, somebody has to be there for days and days. They have to organize it, and then they have to be present for people to show up and look at the stuff and negotiate if they want. You don't do that.
Yeah, with our process, because everything is online, everything is viewed online, there's no traffic going in and out of the house. And then on buyer pickup day, only the buyers that were the high bidders come to the home. So instead of having hundreds and hundreds of people traipse through the property and the home and stuff, we only have the buyers that show up, and we manage all of that. And so it minimizes how many people are actually there. And when they show up, they've already paid. There's no negotiations, and they're required to take everything in their lot. And so it's a very efficient process.
Right. Which doesn't happen otherwise.
Right.
So an important part about this story, which I love to tell stories, but important part about this story is when I first met this couple, although I work with a lot of seniors, it was kind of the first time when I ran into the problem of what are we going to do with all this stuff in such a large volume. And so I knew some people in the estate business, auction houses and so on, and I had people that do cleanup and that kind of stuff. But I took it upon myself to become more educated and research what this business that you're in was about. And I actually talked to people. I went and interviewed various vendors and people who provide parts and pieces of the service. And I made a 5-column comparison chart.
You made a spreadsheet? Wow.
and I, and I described what everybody does and what they don't do and what the costs were and what they weren't. And I laid it in front of my clients. And the husband happened to have been involved in logistics all his life, so he was, one of those. He was down there looking at the numbers, and making sure it was balanced and everything added up. And in the end, he said, looks like Blue Nest is the best option. I mean, I don't know what would happen if I went the other route, if I used all these other people and I have to coordinate them, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, and we're unique as in some of the auction houses will come in and they'll want to take only key items to their auction house to sell, or they only, they're only interested in doing a live auction there if they have high-end materials. And we come in and we just work with the inventory that is there. And if the family picks through it, that is fine. We're so efficient that we just manage what is there, and we don't care if it's high-end or, that's just not the structure. Our structure is based on just emptying it out. And if the estate sale, the online estate sale, makes sense as a way to recuperate some of that money, then that is one of the options that we have. If it doesn't make sense, I say it doesn't make sense. And I've had somebody get mad at me because I said, it doesn't make sense for you to have a sale. She really wanted a sale, but it doesn't make sense. So I'm very upfront with that with our clients. And then I had another person that contacted me for an estate sale, and she was having trouble doing that bridge. She needed to move out, but she couldn't move out until she sold her house, and she couldn't sell her house until she moved out. And I met with her and I said, I think you need to talk with Jim. And she was one that was not a good candidate for an estate sale. And so, but you were able to help her. And then she came back and she still needed some services. And I said, you know what, you can call this one company and they will take care of the services you need. And so, it's very individual based on what they need.
Sometimes people need help, and because you do it a lot,
right?
You can see the exact solution. You already know what it is right away. But sometimes it takes a little conversation and understanding has to develop. But sometimes, we don't get paid for what we do.
Right.
So that's part of the game here. Our job is to make sure that the seniors or other people who are need transitional needs get served. And sometimes that's just simply telling them, well, you need to go over here and talk to this person. And so that does happen. So another thing I think that's a big advantage is you want to work with people who are in the business constantly.
Right.
You're in it 24/7. You've got how many people do you have on your team?
I think 11 or 12, somewhere around there.
Right, which fluctuates.
It fluctuates a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and you try to match the business with the resources.
Right.
So you're in it. You're doing probably dozens of sales every month. And so when you walk in what's going to sell and what isn't,
right,
based on your recent experience. And so if somebody chooses to do it on their own, they think something's worth something because that's what they think. They don't really know. But because of your experience.
Well, and the way these sales work is we are not appraisers. And so if something has a true market value, it's going to sell. And so with our sales, every lot starts at $1, and that's regardless if it is worth $1 million or 25 cents. It starts at $1 and it goes up from there. So we've sold cars before, we've sold large tractors, boats, and they don't sell for $1.
No.
And I often explain to the clients, you can have an appraiser come in and tell you that a painting or a piece of furniture is worth $500 or valued at $500, but it's only worth $500 if you have a buyer that's willing to pay for that. And so, and where's the buyer? It could be, maybe it's only valuable on the East Coast and you have to get it back there to get the top dollar out of it. Or, and so with an auction, you have to have two people find the value in it. And so with these auctions, maybe something that you thought was going to sell for $500, maybe it only sells for $300, but you sold the cleaning products underneath the kitchen sink for $20.
Which wasn't worth anything.
Yeah, and you had, some weird doll that you thought was worthless that somebody's going to throw away, and we sold it for $50. Or somebody got into a bidding war over the silverware drawer, and all of that happens. It creates a very balanced sale. And so, I always caution people who say, well, I've had this, I have been told that this is worth $500. That's fantastic. But you have to have a buyer for that. And that's when you utilize Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. We do not do that. We let the auction play out as it is. And most people are genuinely pretty pleased with what the auction brings, and there's always surprises, which makes it fun.
But you have a kind of a following.
Yes.
So people are following your auctions, and they know you got stuff. They know how you organize it.
Right.
They understand the value of you doing that, and so they probably go from auction to auction, don't they? It's kind of fun.
They do. Yeah, we see repeat buyers, and we see new buyers, and it's very exciting to watch the auction. And so the auctions, I always say, if somebody's going to our shop page, which right now is at Max Sold Shop Blue Nest Home, if you go there and you look at our current auctions, it looks like they're not doing very well. That's because 60% of the bids come in the last few hours of an auction. And so you can look at the morning of the auction, and you can see lots there that don't have any bids on them, or they're very low. And then as the auction closes, it ramps up. And so I think they say 60 to 70% of all bids come in that last few hours. And then I had something on the tip of my tongue and I forgot. Oh, so also if somebody is familiar with selling stuff on eBay, it used to be, and I think it's still the same way, if the auction closes at 7 p.m., the highest bidder that gets their bid in before 7 p.m. is the winner. So you have people slamming the sale, and that's the winner. With our auctions, if somebody slams the auction at the very last minute, it automatically extends it out, and it notifies everybody else who has bid on that lot, hey, you've just been outbidded, do you want to get it? And so several minutes have to pass without a bid coming in before the auction actually closes. So it allows our clients to get the highest bid.
Right.
That is in there.
That's the important part.
Yeah, and that's
I can
very
attest to that. I have purchased things
Yeah.
from her auction, and it is stressful.
It
in
is
those
stressful,
last few
right?
minutes, and you
I've been
think,
outbid.
oh,
I've
I'm
been
going to
outbid, yeah.
score this for this cheap price, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you're
you're
caught up in the
emotionally tied.
frenzy,
Yeah.
and I spent $50 more than I thought I would on this $20 item because
Yeah,
it's
very exciting.
It is
Yeah.
exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I have a great garden statue.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's another point too. Family members or the clients themselves or friends, they can watch the auction process from the very beginning and,
Right.
and track the results. And if they choose to, I guess they can bid on it themselves.
They can. And we do, before the auction goes live, the client has the ability to review the auction book, the catalog, and they can share it with whoever they want, and they can choose to pull items from the auction if they wish. But then we have had family members who purchase items from the auction, not too often, but once in a while.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
They see something they forgot, and
Yeah.
oh, no, I want that. So,
Yeah, usually it's extended family members that
Right.
do that. Yeah.
Right. So, the auction goes on. Now, you give a pretty comprehensive estimate of what you think is going to happen in the beginning.
Well, the clients are paying us to manage the process of emptying out the home.
Right.
And so I'm able to give an estimate on what our fees are going to be and all of their optional services if they choose to have us clean the carpets or the windows. Everything is by line item. And then they get a percentage of the sale, their money applied back to their invoice. And if they owe money at the end, then they get an invoice, but if they've made money back at the end, then I write them a check. And so about 80% of our clients get some form of payment back, whether they are earning money back from a deposit that they paid or if they've made money on the sale. And then when they get their final invoice, they can lay it right next to their estimate and see exactly where they lie in there.
But your initial estimate is not a fixed number. It's a range of values or costs.
Yeah,
for,
we
for
give
each
them a
line
low
item.
end and a high end
Right.
because when we're dealing with inventory in a home, we never know exactly how many hours it's going to take when we start digging stuff out of closets and out of garages and so forth like that. So
I can imagine you come across surprises.
yeah, and we have a lot of communication with our clients throughout the process to let them know where they are on that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as I said earlier, I found Sheila and Blue Nest because I did a comprehensive comparison of what was available for services in our local. Oh, by the way, so what's your service areas? Where do you work?
we are in Kitsap County and surrounding areas, and if it makes sense, we will go outside of that area, and we can do consultations in person or via Zoom.
Oh, good.
So
Save a little time and money.
yeah, we're traveling to Iowa in
Whoa.
October,
Whoa.
so it
You're
happens to be
gonna
my
char-
father's estate.
You're gonna charter a plane and fly everybody out there? Hotels, meals, entertainment?
Something like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
It's doable.
Yeah,
So if
all
anybody has any questions, they can just call the office. And
But I know you've done work, or you've looking at work in Pierce County and King County.
Pierce
sometimes.
County, King County, Snohomish County, yeah.
Yeah, Jefferson maybe.
Jefferson,
Mason.
Yes, we've done quite a bit of work in Shelton, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, so I can attest to the fact that for the clients that I have recommended that they hire Blue Nest, and they actually did that, they were highly satisfied. And I think they would repeat if they had to do it over again, which they don't, but if they had to do it over again, they would probably hire Blue Nest again. And just one other thing. So Renita is a professional friend maker.
Yeah, connector.
And you actually two were friends before I met you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the important things, and I think I've learned this from you, I've been in business a long time, color my hair, but I understand about making relationships and networking and all that sort of thing, but you had a particular style which I really admired, and I have sort of copied, and I think when you introduced me to Renita to help me on that end of things, that was a big help to me. And so what I really like about working with you and Renita and the other people that we work with is that we look first to help each other. If we're able to, if we find something and maybe we're not directly involved in it, but we know it would benefit you, we're going to refer that person to you. Do you have any words about that? Do you have any thing you want to say about that style of developing business or making friends?
Well, I think you do business with people that you like and take care of our clients. So I like to refer clients to people who I know are honest and fair, and that will provide a good service. So I think whenever you're in a smaller town like Silverdale, in anywhere, right, it's building relationships.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much,
Thanks,
Sheila.
Jim.
I know you're really busy. I don't want to take any more of your time if you don't want to. But we'll be back with more interviews of friends and explanation of what they do. And we hope that by seeing this video, you'll understand more about Sheila and what her business is, and feel comfortable about giving her a call. What's the best way for people to contact you?
Best way is to call our office in Silverdale. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, 360-551-4831. Or they can go to our website, which is bluenesthome.com, and go to the Contact Us Now page.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim.